evidence of victory.
This actually has shown us that APC is on ground in Lagos East and will continue to provide dividend of democracy.
The election, which was contested among 12 political parties, finally put to rest months of intensive preparations to fill the vacant seat of the Lagos East Senatorial District in the National Assembly following the demise of Bayo Oshinowo. In Lagos, Michael Lale, NT News.
Professor Nora Dadut of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has emerged winner of the Plateau South Senatorial District by-elections, beating her closest contender, George Daka of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, with a landslide victory. Returning officer of the senatorial by-election, Vice Chancellor of Federal University Lafia, Professor Idris, announced the results at the Collation Center in Shendam. Kim Gwat's report.
10 political parties participated in the 5th December 2020 Plateau South Senatorial District by-election to fill the vacuum created following the demise of late Senator Ignatius Lonjan. Professor Nora Ladi Dadut of the APC secured a total of 83,151 votes to beat her close rival George Daka of the PDP, who scored 70,838 votes.
Nora Ladi Dadut of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Thank you very much.
Although some irregularities were recorded in some polling units, the election was generally peaceful with the heavy presence of security personnel at all polling centers. It was also observed in compliance with COVID-19 protocol across the 6 local government areas of the senatorial district. In Jos, Kim Godz, NT News.
In the meantime, the presidency has described as welcoming the results of the by-elections conducted in some states, which show that the governing All Progressive Congress, APC, remains the chosen party of Nigerians. A statement signed by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, states that the Buhari-led administration does not take this confidence of the people for granted and will not fail them. The statement assures Nigerians that they will not be disappointed for appreciating government's effort at making life better for all, especially under an economy facing the severest test from the global coronavirus pandemic. While thanking the people for their trust in the party and government, the president congratulates successful candidates and is particularly pleased with the outcome of the elections. He urged members of the party to uphold the spirit of hard work, unity, progress and cooperation, which is the bedrock of these victories. Bayelsa State Governor Senator Duye Diri has expressed deep condolences to the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, over the loss of some of the force's personnel who drowned while escorting voting materials for last Saturday's senatorial by-election in the state. The boat conveying the policemen was said to have capsized on its way to Oporoma, the headquarters of Southern Ijaw local government area. In a statement by his chief press secretary, Daniel Alabra, Governor Diri also condoled with the families of the deceased policemen. He prayed God to give the police boss and the families of the policemen the strength to bear the great loss. Governor Diri, however, commended the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for the smooth and fast process it put in place for the election. To bridge the capability gap of the Nigerian Air Force in special forces and combat search and rescue operations, 203 troops have been injected into the existing force. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, announced this at the graduation of the combined team at the Nigerian Air Force Regiment Training Center, Air Force Base, Bauchi. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
Marksmanship drill, a vital skill for all military personnel. These are troops of the Nigerian Air Force Special Forces, one of the most feared fighting formation, trained to attack with speed, precision, and superior tactics. These forces are products of a 13-week intensive theoretical and practical training for special forces and combat search and rescue, with emphasis on force projection, protection and base defense. This training is to upscale the troops' capacity to effectively operate in different difficult terrain and weather conditions. They are expected to provide situation awareness for aircrew to reduce collateral damage, enhance the success and safety of air operations.
We have about 300 of these forces in Benue State, another 200 in Zamfara State that are fighting side by side with ground troops in order to ensure the security of our country. Their performance has proven that enhancing the capacity and capability of our personnel is the best way of ensuring the attainment of our operational goals and objectives.
The command has trained over 1,200 personnel by conducting 7 Special Forces course, 2 Special Forces Instructors course, and 3 Combat Search and Rescue course.
203 out of more than 300 personnel enlisted for the course 7 and 3 Special Forces and Combat and Search, as well as rescue training, successfully graduated. From the Nigerian Air Force Base in Bauchi, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Still staying with security, a book to inspire young military officers and engender professional know-how in combating elements of insecurity in contemporary Nigeria is paving its way into the wall shelves. The compendium of several decades of experience is captured on the wings of distinction, a memoir of a fighter pilot authored by Air Vice Marshal Christian Chukwu. Francis Form reports.
From a young airman to a veteran pilot, 37 busy years on the airspace with an undented career. This is the story of Air Vice Marshal Christian Chukwu, and in order not to let the secrets to his success to fade out with the passage of time, an autobiography is painstakingly compiled. A book of 22 chapters with an inspiring tales, serving as a war room for those in the defense field.
So it also presents lessons that should help others to avoid some of the pitfalls that are inherent in human societies and that should help develop more well-rounded, effective pilots for the Nigerian Air Force.
Great officer with great friends and schoolmates. For instance, the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, and that of Science and Technology, Ogbonnaya Onu, described the literature as a complete brochure of past and future war guide.
Because of his patriotism, the love of nation, he was able to use all the skills that he got from the Air Force. And this is what we need in our country.
I think he has done well by writing this book because for me in particular, we were young, I never cared to know his youthful days, but the book, first few chapters of the book filled the gap for me.
Trembling in the outpouring of goodwill, the author and recipient of many awards put his experience into perspective.
I am particularly motivated to write this book to show that you can rise to the peak of your profession by being diligent, by being who you are, and knowing that if you remain who you are, the rules of merit will come up and you will get to where you are supposed to be.
It's a book that everybody should read, both youths, anybody.
No, whatever your profession, know you are a service to the fatherland, give it your best as he did, then Nigeria will be a better country for all of us.
In Abuja, Francis Form, NTA News.
Just one month, security. The Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners is suing for compulsory ICT training for members, as well as amendment of existing private guard companies' decree and act to accommodate current security dynamics. The resolutions are part of the 11-point communique issued at the end of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, and the Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria retreat. Justina Etim reports.
Statistics from the United Nations indicates that the ratio of the police to the population in Nigeria is 187 to 1,000 people. It is on this premise that security experts say it is obvious that the police cannot single-handedly provide needed security, especially in the wake of heightened insecurity in contemporary times, thus making the job of private security guards vital to the security architecture of the country. For the private security sector to take its pride of place in the nation's security architecture, it is the yearning of practitioners that personnel be subjected to consistent training and psychological evaluation to ensure that members are fit to carry firearms.
We resolve that the unified training to be organized by our regulators would be something regular and it will be sustained.
The government of the day and the security agency to trust us more. They work with us.
Before you work as a security guard, very soon, you must have an ID, a certification showing that you have gone through training in an accredited training institution.
To complement official security agencies in crime management, the Ministry of Interior is making concerted efforts to establish a training and certification institution for all categories of private security institutions in the country.
We're working with the NSCDC to ensure that some of those recommendations and some of those policy initiatives by the Honorable Minister are effectively implemented.
Other stakeholders sue for standardization, remuneration, and improved working conditions for private security guards.
The private security has come to place to augment what the government agencies are doing.
There was presentation of awards to practitioners who have contributed immensely to the improvements of security in the country. In Calabar, Justina Etem, NTA News.
This news at 7 is on NTA International. We'll have more reports after this break.
Dialogue, empathy, love and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
I want to reiterate that the House will do all it can to make sure that everybody that has suffered from police violence, whether you're from the north, from the east, from the west, because everybody in Nigeria suffered from police violence, not just those of us from the southwest. That will be applicable to all, including policemen that lost their lives in this unfortunate incident.
Let's build and not destroy.
Hey beautiful, your eyes, your smile are all begging me to take you home tonight.
Now reading page 3.
Experience unlimited super-fast internet access from Entel 4G. Entel. Live more.
You're staying with us on the news at 7 on NTA International. The federal government is to develop a strategy towards boosting production of gum arabic for more revenue generation. This, the government says, is part of the post-COVID-19 economic diversification strategy. Musa Babali reports.
This is what gum arabic looks like, a secretion of the acacia tree known in northern Nigeria as gao. Gum arabic is in high demand globally due to its use in beverages, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and shoemaking. It is also used as a binder in stamps, envelopes, and cigarette wraps. The global demand of the produce is put at 90,000 to 100,000 metric tons per annum. Nigeria was the largest producer in Africa, producing more than 20,000 metric tons, but lost to Sudan. Production dropped to about 5,000 metric tons annually.
Between 2004 and 2014, Nigeria was earning, on the average, $92 million from the export of gum arabic. But now, from 2014 to now, Nigeria is now earning less than $3 million per annum from gum arabic.
With the gradual security stabilization in Northeast, the federal government has developed a program that will boost gum arabic production.
The major partners for Nigeria are Europe, Asia, Americas.
This meeting, organized by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, identified two strategies. One is the massive planting of the trees for afforestation and degraded soil recovery program. The second is the collection, cleaning and packaging of the gum for the international market.
Nigeria exports over 95% of its gum arabic in raw form to Europe, Asia, and United States of America. Only 5% is utilized locally. Not processing this commodity locally before export is causing Nigeria huge losses in form of revenue and employment opportunities.
And then it's also economical in planting it because it does not require a lot of water. So it doesn't need a much tendering before it grows and it starts fruiting.
The International Fund for Agricultural Development has set up a plan to plant more than 6 million gum arabic trees in 6 states in northwest and east regions of the country. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Let's go on the global scene now. Shortage of oxygen leaves 6 COVID-19 patients dead in Pakistan, just as Britain and European Union resume trade talks on Brexit trade deal. Let's get more stories trending on this global scene with Uche Ugochukwu.
South Korea is raising its COVID-19 alert levels as it battles a rise in infections. From Tuesday, gatherings of more than 50 people will be banned in the capital Seoul and surrounding areas. Meanwhile, at least 6 COVID-19 patients died after criminal negligence resulted in a delayed supply of oxygen to a hospital in northwest Pakistan. Now, the global infections tally hits 67 million as shown on Worldometer coronavirus dashboard as at 6 p.m. local time, and Nigeria's confirmed cases reached 68,937 after detecting 310 new cases Saturday. In other news, poll opened for Venezuelans to choose members of the National Assembly in an election which is boycotted by most opposition parties, who have described it as a fraud. The election comes amid a 2-year power struggle between sitting President Nicolas Maduro and opposition leader Juan Guaido. Still on politics, U.S. President Donald Trump has held his first rally after losing the U.S. presidential election. The event in Georgia comes before key Senate runoff elections there in January, which will decide control of the upper house. And British negotiators have arrived in Brussels for a last-ditch attempt to strike a Brexit trade deal with the European Union and avert a chaotic parting of ways at the end of the year. The talks resumed after they were halted a day earlier due to an impasse over 3 key issues. Thanks for staying tuned. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Yes, back to us here in the country. Language is a vital tool. Not only is it a means of conveying thoughts and ideas, but it helps forge friendships, cultural ties, and economic relationships. It is in the light of these that the Nigerian National Association of the Deaf is pushing for the recognition of sign language in Nigeria. Herman Jabani report.
They can hear verbal communication while some can hear partially, but they intend to make sure that their statement is heard by everybody. And that statement is the need for the recognition of sign language in Nigeria due to the over 9 million deaf community in the country. Celebrating the 2020 International Day for the Persons with Disability, Nigerian National Association of the Deaf commended President Buhari for the recognition given to the disabled persons in the country while asking for the harmonization of various sign languages towards building and developing one for the country.
Sign language is one of the most important languages that need to be recognized in Nigeria. This community, once we don't recognize sign language, we are leaving them behind. And the most important way here to build back a better Nigeria is to recognize the sign language.
Sign language is our primary language, our right, our pride, and our identity. We need the support of everyone, including the government and the corporate world, to help advance and promote our right at all levels.
A novelty football match was played between the Deaf Football Association Old-Timers and its youth team, which ended 3-0 in favor of the Old-Timers. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Intriguing. Up next is sports update with Amanzi Marcus.
Benin Republic lost by a lone goal to Niger, with Togo and Burkina Faso ending their match on a 1-0 draw at the WAFU Zone B tournament. Monday is a rest day. Nigeria's Flying Eagles placed second in the maiden edition in 2018 and are hopeful of qualifying to the CAF Under-20 Championship in 2021, which serves as a qualifier for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. Meanwhile, Swedish pole vaulter Armand Duplantis has been named Male Athlete of the Year, while Venezuela's triple jumper Yulima Rojas earned the women's title during World Athletics Annual Awards held virtually for fear of COVID-19. Duplantis broke Sergei Bubka's 26-year-old world record by clearing 6.15 meters with an indoor record of 6.18 meters in Glasgow, Scotland in February to finish the season unbeaten in 16 competitions. On her part, Rojas set a new indoor world record of 15.43 meters at the Madrid World Athletics Indoor Tour meeting to break a mark that stood for 21 years. As uncertainties around the first Grand Slam of the season continues, WTA plans to start the 2021 season in the first week of January outside Australia ahead of the journey to Melbourne for quarantine before the Australian Open. The Women's Tour Chief Executive Steve Simon told Reuters, "The Australian Open, we are expecting it to happen. Negotiations with Australian health authorities still drags on over when the players will arrive Australia and what they will be allowed to do during the 14-day quarantine on the usual